I've asked, today is the 4th time. I'm asking about that schedule. Chairperson Committee on Implementation, or any member from that committee. Honorable Manzia, you are? Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee, to table a report. Honorable members, please peruse your order paper so that you prepare. We need to save time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request for more time so that we can deal with the report. Thank you.
So the term is coming to an end, and you have never laid a paper, even for Christmas, India. Not even one.
Tomorrow to that, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of Majority.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's becoming an issue of concern. Yesterday, while you were away, the chair was there. This matter came up with this particular committee. And I think at first, any member would think it's like the members were unfair. Mr. Speaker, I think the honorable member should be able at least to be a bit serious. Because one of the key things which came up was that we are making recommendations. The implementation part of it as a challenge. Now you can see even presenting their own report is also another challenge. Mr. Speaker, I think it's the high time we need to take this matter seriously, because in a way, we feel the government is being failed by this particular committee. And the members should assure us on how they will take the business forward and the essence of their seriousness.
The committee and the clerk. No. If directions were given that that paper be laid today, the position remains. So, clerk, the directions remains. Find out from the committee clerk why that paper is not here. If the problem is not the committee clerk, we will know the problem is the committee. So, clerk, can you do that part of exercise? Public Accounts Committee, chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of report of Charge General on the Makueni County Assembly Kalon and Mortgage Fund for the years ended 30th June 2023 and 30th June 2024.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee, to give a notice of motion.
Beg to give notice of the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on Makueni County Assembly Kalon and Mortgage Fund for the years ended 30th June 2023 and 30th June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 2nd December 2025.
Next order. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, procedure of motion, waiving notice period.
Ilo the Major Party.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following procedural motion that notwithstanding the provisions standing order number 60, Sebastico 5B, this assembly resolves to waive the notice period on the motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Services on the Makueni County Universal Health Care Coverage Implementation Guidelines 2025, appearing on the order paper under order number 9. I call upon Honorable Dolo for Ukia to support or to second the motion.
Honorable members, I propose a question that notwithstanding provision of standing order number 60, paragraph 5B, the assembly resolves to waive the notice period on the motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Services on the Makueni County Universal Healthcare Coverage, UHC, implementation guideline for the year 2025, bearing the order paper under order number 9. The floor is open for debate. Honorable Elizabeth Muli.
Honorable Speaker, I am standing to seek your guidance on that particular motion, on how it has been prosecuted before us. Is it supposed to be the leadership or members of the County Assembly Business Committee? Because it's a procedural motion to waive a notice for a business that is coming before this House, Honorable Speaker. The two members who have proposed and seconded the motion, members of the County Assembly Business Committee.
Honorable Muthike, are you seeking the indulgence of the chair or you are informing this House?
Honorable Speaker, it is both, because the Speaker has to give a determination on how the matter has been prosecuted.
Honorable Muthike, we stand to be informed. You seem to be very alert after lunch than all of us. Perhaps you have benefit of double thinking. And Honorable Muthike is in order that this is a procedural matter to be moved by not the leader of the majority, the leadership of the assembly, because it's not laying of the papers, but it's affecting the order paper, and therefore is a business of Assembly Business Committee. So only members of the Assembly Business Committee can do so. Oh, Honorable Josephine. So for purposes of regularizing that, honorable members, I would direct that the motion be moved again by a member of the Assembly Business Committee. So approach the clerk and you'll be assisted. Do you have they will advise you. It's up to them. Honorable members, I would direct to proceed to order number 10 and then we'll revert to order number 8 and 9. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 10, motion. The report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration Special Programs on the annual report of the Makueni County Public Service Board on the execution of the functions of the board.
Chairperson, Committee on Devolution. Chairperson, Committee on Devolution. Is it you, Honorable Moki? I will get. There seems to be a confusion between the committee clerk and the members of committee on devolution. That the paper and the order paper is what is before us, but members of the committee have a different paper. Honorable Moki, how much time do you require to move this motion?
Honorable Speaker, I don't get exactly what is in the order paper right now, but in the morning session, there was some business from the Committee of Devolution, and we left the document with the table clerk, and I can't see the documents.
How much time do you require to locate it? The next 5 minutes? You are allowed to do so. Next order.
Order number 11, motion. The report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Public Funds, that is CRF, receiver of revenue, emergency, empowerment, climate change, bursary, and car loan and mortgage. Quarterly reports on the financial statement for the period ended of 30th of June 2025.
Chairperson, Committee on Finance. Where?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Public Funds, CRF, receiver of revenue, emergency, empowerment, climate change, bursary and car loan and mortgage, quarterly reports and financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2025, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th September 2025. Aile.
Honorable Chair, we are under motions. Seek assistance from member Vongu. I saw him remind you to come. We are the motion. You move the motion, and then you take us through your motion.
Yes, that's it's a let me go through much background. Section 163 of the Public Finance Management Act stipulates that at the end of financial year, the county treasurer shall, for the county government, consolidate the annual financial statements in respect of all county government entities in formats to be prescribed by the Accounting Standards Board. The county treasurer shall include in the consolidated financial statements A statement of all money paid into and paid out of the county exchequer account, B, a summary of the appropriation account statements prepared by the accounting officers under Section 164, the statements prepared by receivers of the revenue under Section 165, a statement payments, if any, made out of county exchequer, account that authorized by legislation other than Appropriation Act, a statement of the local of the total amount of debt of the county government that is outstanding and at the end of the financial year, a statement of the debt guaranteed by national government at the end of the financial year, such other statements as the county assembly may require, and a statement on the summary of the accounts from county assembly, 3, the county treasurer shall ensure that the statements and summaries referred to the section 2 are informed that is accordance with the accounting standards prescribed and published by the Accounting Standards Board from time to time. Not later than 4 months after the end of financial year, the county treasurer shall submit financial statements and summary referred in the subsection 1 to the Auditor General, and B, deliver a copy of the National Treasury Control of Budget and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Statements, Makueni County Revenue Fund, CRF, financial statement for the period ended 30th June. Article 207 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that there shall be established a revenue fund for each county government into which shall be paid all money raised or received by or on behalf of the county government, except money reasonably excluded by an act of parliament, and that the money may be withdrawn from revenue funds of a county government only as a charge against the revenue fund that is provided for by an act of parliament or by legislation of the county, or as authorized by an appropriation by legislation of the county. Receipts. During the reporting period, the county government of Makueni received a total of 9,915,000,000. This representing 81% performance of all anticipated revenues for the financial year 24-25 of the total receipt of 8,407,000,000, where exchequer releases 100% performance, 497 million, where county own source revenue 34% performance of 171 million, where other grants 28% performance, while 750 million were returned to CRF issues, 75% performance. NB, the underperformance of our own source revenue was as a result of AIA revenue, 3,719 million, from the county hospital facilities, 11 million, from Makueni fruit processing, spent at source and not disbursed to CRF account, as well as under collection of the OSR streams. Withdrawals for the CRF. The withdrawals from the CRF amounted to 8,255,000,000 in line with the County Appropriation Act and Controller of Budgets approval. This represented a performance of 71% over the CRF receipts during the reporting fiscal period. The County Executive received 7,479,000,000, while the County Assembly received 776 million as disbursements made from the County Exchequer account. These transfers from CRF are subject to fund requisition approvals by the Office of the Controller of Budget to withdraw funds as per the PFMA Act and the approved County Appropriation Act. Statements of comparison of budget actuals amount, receipts, Exchequer releases. The county government revised budget for the financial year 24-25 as 8,407,000,000 as the Exchequer release. The actual receipt of the Exchequer releases by the end of the fourth quarter was 8,407,000,000. It earns 100% utilization and a utilization difference of only 176 shillings. Transfers from other government agencies. The county government revised budget of financial year 24-25 as 573,116,000 as transfers from other government agencies. The actual receipt of the transfers from other government agencies by the end of the fourth quarter was 146 million, hence a 26 utilization and a utilization difference of 426 million. Other grants. The county government revised budget of financial year 24-25 as at 4 million as other grants. The actual receipt of the other grants by the end of the fourth quarter was 24,193,000, hence 71% utilization and utilization difference of 9,967,000. County own source revenue. The county government revised budget financial year 24-25 as a projection of 1.4 billion as the county own source revenue. The actual CRF disbursement by the end of the fourth quarter was 407 million, representing that 4% utilization, hence a utilization difference of 974 million. Payments. The transfer to the county executive. The county government revised budget financial year 24-25 as a projected 10 billion as the transfers to the county executive. The actual disbursement by the end of the fourth quarter was 7 billion, representing a 69% utilization, hence a utilization difference of 3 billion. Transfers to the county assembly. Mr. Speaker, we've got a lot of noise from Honorable Muthike and Honorable Charlo Mumo and Honorable Mangangi, and they are distracting me when I'm taking through. Kindly.
I agree. You know, the member is not used to moving motions. This is made in motion. So give him peace. But they are celebrating how it is very systematic.
Transfer to the county assembly. The county government revised budget for the financial year 24-25 as projected 807 million as the transfers to the county assembly. The actual disbursement by the end of the fourth quarter was 807 million 539,000, representing 100% utilization. Hence a utilization difference of 201,000. Observations. The county realized 81% of all its targeted revenue end of the reporting period. The difference was due to under-collection in grants from the development partners and the performance of our own source revenue. 2, the exchequer releases were at 100% performance at the end of the reporting period. 3, the county had realized that 7% of its own source revenue disbursed to the CRF at the end of the second quarter. However, the low percentage reporting is as a result of large part of the amount collected as OSR being retained by the various hospitals and Makueni Food Development Authority as AIA. 4, the conditional allocations and other grants had greatly underperformed, remitting only 26% of the projected revenue by the end of the reporting quarter, exposing the county government to possible huge deficits in the fiscal year. 5th, the county executive received 69% of the total budget during the reporting fiscal year, while the county assembly received 100% of its total budget. Recommendation. The county government to fully implement the revenue mobilization strategies already identified to help the realization of own source revenue targets to cushion the county government from budget shortfalls and aid cash flow management whenever the exchequer and disbursement are delayed. Makueni County receiver on revenue financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2025. Background. The section 157 of the PFM Act 2012 provides that the county executive committee member for finance shall in writing designate persons to be responsible for collecting, receiving and accounting for such county government revenue as the county executive committee member for finance may specify in letters of designation. A receiver of the county government revenue is responsible to the county executive committee member for finance for ensuring that the revenue for the receiver is responsible, collected or recovered, and is accounted for. Receipts. As per the financial year 2024-2025 revised budget, the county projects to generate a total of 1.4 billion by the end of the financial year 24-25. As at 30th June 2025, the county collected 1.2 billion against annual, representing 84%, while resulting in a revenue shortfall of 240,000. The underperformance is attributed to, among other factors, depressed economic conditions. It's worth noting, the county had registered an increase in its revenue collection by 186 million, representing 18% increase compared to the previous financial year 23-24. The improvement in performance is attributed to the implementation of key strategies, including optimizing land-based revenue, adopting a coordinated approach to business licensing, implementing unified billing, broadening revenue streams, automating revenue processes, reducing leakages through increased supervision and staff rotation. County own source revenue, CRF disbursement. The county government revised budget for financial year 24-25 had a projection of 1.4 billion as the county own source revenue. The actual collection by the end of the year was 1.2 billion, representing an 84% utilization by the end of the reporting financial quarter. Hence a utilization difference of 240 million. The 719 million was retained by the various hospitals in form of appropriation in aid and 11 million was retained by Makueni Fruit Processing Plant. Therefore, a total of 730 million was not disbursed to the County Revenue Fund, hence a total CRF disbursement of 497 million by the end of the reporting quarter. County own source revenue, the stream performance analysis. By the end of the reporting quarter, the county own source revenue amounted to 1.2 billion, hospital fees and the county highest amount of revenue to 790 million, while single business permits, the second highest, that earned 176 million, followed by cess at 141 million. Other fines, penalties, and forfeit fees was the lowest revenue earned during the financial year, bringing to 240,195. Statement of arrears of revenue is at 30th June 2025. As at 30th June 2025, the arrears of revenue amount to 628 million, comprising of land rates of 551 million, single business permits of 64 million, and property rent of 12 million. Accordingly, the county government has put in measures such as public sensitization to plot owners through market clinics, bulk SMS, social media, and mainstream media, issuance of demand notice to plot owners, continuous reminders through bulk SMS and market clinics to business owners, use of revenue champions in the market to encourage voluntary compliance, and the public sensitization to property owners through municipalities. Cash and the cash equivalents. As at 30th June 2025, the revenue amount of 169 million is the total financial assets with 1.2 million being bank balances. That is the current account at KCB. 6 million is receivables from exchange transactions, and 162 million is receivables from non-exchequer transactions. The revenue account had financial liabilities amounting to 169 million as at 30th of June 2025, the financial year 2024-2025. These were amounts payable to the County Revenue Fund. That is, these are amounts yet to be disbursed to CRF as at the end of the financial quarter, yet to have been collected and paid into CRF, bank accounts and balances. The county government was running 4 revenue accounts in KCB, bank is at the reporting period, and held balances in those accounts is shown below, totaling into 11 million. One is Makueni County Revenue Account. It had a balance of 61,000. Directorate of Cooperative Account had a balance of 0. Makueni County Demonstration Revenue Collection Account had nil. Makueni County Sand and Conservation and Utilization Revenue Account had 1,800, and M-Pesa Makueni Sand had 1,900. M-Pesa revenue at 1 million, at 1.8 million. Observations. The county had realized 84%, being that's 1.2 billion of the fiscal year on source revenue target as at the end of the year. 2, there was an 18% increase of 186 million in the revenue collection at the end of the reporting fiscal year in comparison to the previous financial year. However, the county was still not meeting its own source revenue targets. 3, the bank balances of the revenue accounts at the end of the reporting quarter amounted to 1.2 million. This balance constitutes part of the amount yet to be disbursed to the CRF. 4, all revenue streams had posted an increase in revenue generated compared to the same period of the financial year. 5, the land rates led in arrears of revenue at 551 million. However, there was a decrease in the revenue arrears on the 2 revenue streams, that is land rate and property rent, indicative of the increase in compliance by the plot owners following the spirited campaign by the department. Nonetheless, single permits registered huge arrears of 64 million is at the reporting period. 6, hire of county assets posted an increase of 105% realization at the end of the year, indicative of the increasing desire by members of the public to hire and use county assets, including machinery. Our recommendations. The county government to continue implementing the revenue mobilization strategies are already identified to help the realization of on-source revenue targets to cushion the account from budget shortfalls. 2, land or plot run rate stream was still underperforming. The county government should therefore fully put in more effort in implementing the recovery measures such as sensitization and issuance of notices, as well as full implementation, the valuation role, and enforce payment of land plot rent by plot owners, since this is a revenue stream which is not fully being exploited. 3, the department should fully enforce the recovery measures instituted against the defaulters to recover the revenue arrears and authoritatively invoke the provisions of the Makueni County Revenue Administration Act 2017 and Makueni County Finance Act 2024 in the enforcement. 4, the department should ensure that all county assets which have been identified as preferred for use by the public are kept in good working conditions and always are available for hire. Consequently, the department should revise revenue targets for its stream, which has proven to perform well, and ensure to maximize the same. Makueni County Emergency Fund, fiscal statements, financial statements, and reports for the period ended 30th June 2025. Section 110 of the Public Management, that's PFM, 2012, provides that a county executive committee, with the approval of the county assembly, establish an emergency fund for the county government under the name County Emergency Fund, and the fund shall consist of money from time to time appropriated by the county assembly to fund an appropriation law. The purpose of the emergency fund is to enable payments to be made in respect of a county when an urgent and unforeseen need for expenditure to which there is no specific legislative authority. Section 112 of the PFM provides that the county executive committee member of finance may make payments from the county government emergency fund only if or she is satisfied that there is an urgent and unforeseen need for expenditure which there is no legislative authority and shall be in accordance with the operational guidelines made under regulations approved by Parliament and the law relating to disaster management. For purposes of this section, the PFM Act, there is an urgent and unforeseen event of expenditure if the county committee member of finance, guided by regulations and relevant laws, establishes that 1, payment not budgeted for cannot be delayed until later financial year without harming the general public interest. 2, payment is meant to alleviate the damage, loss, hardship, or suffering which may be caused directly by the event. 3, the damage caused by the event is on a small scale and limited to the county. Mr. Speaker, an unforeseen event is one which, 1, threatens damage to human life or welfare. 2, threatens damage to the environment. The county executive committee member of finance may not, during a financial year, make a payment from the emergency fund under section 112 exceeding 2% of the total county government revenue as shown in that county government audited financial statements for the previous financial year, except for the first year. Section 114 of the PFM Act provides that the county executive committee member for finance shall seek approval of the county assembly within 2 months after payment is made from the emergency fund. If the county assembly is not sitting during the period referred to the section or soon thereafter, the county executive committee member for finance shall seek the approval for the payment within 14 days after the county assembly next sits. As soon as practical after the county assembly has approved the payment, the county executive committee member for finance shall cause a draft of the appropriation bill to be introduced in the county assembly for the appropriation of the money paid for the replacement of the county government emergency fund to the extent of the amount of the payment receipts. The report covers the financial and non-financial performance of the emergency fund for the financial year 24-25 for the period ended 30th June 2025, being from 1st of July 2024 to 30th June 2025. The report indicates that the fund was allocated 40 million in the financial year 24-25 original budget and an additional of 2.3 million by the supplementary budget. The fund received 38 million as transfers from the county government during the year. Expenses, the total payments made out of the fund during the period under review amounted to 39 million, hence a deficit of 1 million in the reporting fiscal year. Statement of assets and liabilities assets. As the reporting period, the fund had 7.5 million as the total assets, with 3.6 million being cash and the cash equivalents. That's current account held at Central Bank of Kenya, and 3.8 million being receivables from non-exchequer transaction. Those are retentions. Liabilities. The fund had liabilities amounting to 3.6 million, all being on trade and other payables. That is retention money. Fund balance is at 31st March 2025. The fund balance is at 30th June 2025 was 3.6 million. Observations. 1, the transfers from county government to the emergency fund in the financial year 24-25 amounted to 38 million. 2, the payments made out of the emergency fund during the period under review amounted to 39 million. 3, the fund bank balance as 30th June was 3.6 million, all being the balance brought forward at the beginning of the year. 4, the fund had liabilities amounting to 3.8, all being trade and other payables. That's retention money. 5, the approvals of the county assembly for the payments made out of the emergency fund was sought within the said time frames as required by Section 114 of the PFM Act 2012. Further justifications for those payments and the emergency fund were provided. Recommendations. The committee recommends the improvement in the reporting of both financial and non-financial performance of the fund, as the timelines for seeking counter approvals after payments out of emergency fund and filing quarterly reports have been strictly observed. 2, the executive to maintain and even improve the management of the fund to ensure full realization of the objectives for which the fund was set up. Makueni County Youth, Men, Women, Persons with Disabilities and Table Banking Groups Empowerment Fund report and financial statements for the financial quarter ended 30th June 2025. Regulation 4 of Makueni County Youth, Men, Women, Persons with Disabilities and Table Banking Groups Empowerment Fund. Regulation 2018 establishes the Makueni County Youth, Men, Women, Persons with Disabilities and Table Banking Groups Empowerment Fund, whose main purpose is to promote new and existing micro and small enterprises by the youth, men, women, persons with disabilities in the county, and promote the power and empower table banking within the county. The fund consists, 1, monies allocated and appropriated from the county revenue fund by the county assembly. 2, any grants, gifts, donations, loans, or other endowments given to the fund. 3, such funds as may first in or accrue to the fund. 4, monies from another lawful source accruing to the fund. The proceeds of the fund are used for purposes of 1, providing access to capital and financial facilities to micro and small enterprises owned by youth, men, women, persons with disabilities who resides in the county. Attracting and facilitating investment in micro and small enterprises, and funding of loans to table banking groups within the county, supporting youth, men, women, and persons with disabilities-oriented micro and small enterprises to develop linkages with large enterprises. Facilitating marketing of products and services of micro and small enterprises owned by youth, women, men, and persons living with disabilities who are residents in the county in both domestic and international markets. Facilitating training, mentorship, and provision of business development services to youth, men, women, and persons living with disabilities and table banking groups in the county. Facilitating employment of youth, men, women, and persons with disabilities who are residents in the county in the international labor market. Section 116, Section 4 of the PFM Act 2012 provides that an administrator of a county public fund shall ensure that money held in the fund, including any earning or accruals referred to in subsection 3, is spent only for the purposes for which the fund is established, while Regulation 197, Section 1D for the PFM Act, that's County Government Regulations 2015, that the administrative cost of a fund shall be a maximum of 3% of the approved budget of the fund. Section 14 of the County of Makueni County Youth Men, Women and Persons with Disabilities and Table Banking Groups Regulation 2018 provides that, 1, there shall be paid from the fund loans of qualifying youth men, women, and persons with disabilities on micro and small enterprises, loans to qualifying youth, men, women, and persons with disabilities enterprises for business startups, loans to qualifying table banking groups, operational expenses incurred in the administration of the fund, and monies are necessary for the committee to carry out its mandate under these regulations. 2, the expenses incurred in paragraph D and E of sub-regulation 1 shall not exceed 3% of the fund loan book from time to time. The provision of any law or regulation relating to the management of public funds shall apply to the management of the fund. Receipts. The fund did not have any receipts during the reporting quarter since the operation of the fund are currently suspended following a resolution of the County Assembly. However, resulting from investment and fixed deposits, the fund realized an interest of 9 million. Expenses. The fund had a total expense of 12,000 shillings, all being bank charges. Assets. As at the reporting period, the fund had 219 million as the total net assets. These include 161 as cash and the cash equivalents and 58 million as current portion of long-term receivables from exchange transactions. Long-term receivables are monies expected back to the fund from beneficiaries. These included write-offs and write-backs, as well as receivables from brought forward from the previous quarter. Liabilities. The fund did not have any liabilities. Fund balance is at 30th June 2025. The fund balance is 30th June 2025 was 219 million, with 10 million being accumulated surplus and the 209 being the revolving fund. Bank accounts. The fund is administered from the KCB under 2 fixed deposits accounts that are given there below. Observations. The revolving fund as at 30th June 2025 was 209 million. 2, the fund had no liabilities during the reporting fiscal year. 3, accumulated surplus for the fund for the reporting quarter was 10 million. At the time of the reporting, that's accumulated surplus in the accrued surpluses or deficits over the financial years. There were no loan disbursement by the fund. This following the suspension of such operations of the fund by a resolution of the County Assembly. 5, the current portion of long-term receivables stood at 58 million at the end of the reporting year compared to 58,605,000 at the end of the previous year, meaning loan repayment between 1st of July 2024 and 30th June 2025 amounted to 504,000 shillings. 6, the fund did not incur any expenses during the period year, save for the bank charges that were 12,000 shillings. Recommendation. The Department of Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services to put in place modalities to ensure all outstanding loans are recovered in order to enable the resumption of the operation of the fund to facilitate members of the target groups benefit from the fund. Makueni County Climate Change Fund quarterly reports and financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2025. Section 116 of the PFM Act 2012 provides that a county executive committee member for finance may establish the other public funds with approvals of the county executive committee and the county assembly. Section 54, section 1 of the Makueni County Climate Change Fund Act 2022 established the Makueni County Climate Change Fund, whose objective and purpose are to provide funding for priority climate change actions and interventions identified by communities and other stakeholders and approved by the steering committee. Pursuant to Section 57 of the Act, the fund consists of monies including initial capital appropriated by County Assembly, being not less than 2% of the county development budget, excluding conditional grants and loans, money appropriated annually by the County Assembly, which shall not be less than 2% of the annual development budget of the county, excluding conditional grants and loans. Money received from the National Climate Change Fund, International Climate Finance received by county directly or through national designated authority, national implementing entity, bilateral and multilateral sources of financing and other agencies, donations, endowments, bequests, grants, and gifts from individuals, public and private entities, local or foreign, charges, fees, levies, or fines received by the county government in connection with activities that adversely impact on climate in the county, and interest and any other money that may lawfully accrue to the fund in any form. Receipts. During the year under review, the Climate Change Fund received a total of 169 million, comprising of 11 million from public contribution donations and 158 million is transfer from the county government. Payments. Payments made by the fund during the reporting period amounted to 154 million, comprising of use of goods and services, fuel and oil costs, rental costs, general operating expenses of 153 million, and depreciation and amortization expenses of 1.2 million. The fund therefore had a surplus of 15 million during that year. Statements of assets and liabilities, cash and cash equivalents. At 30th June 2025, the fund had 157 million as the total financial assets, comprising of 143 million as cash and cash equivalents, 9 million as the work in progress, and 4.3 million as property, plant and equipment. The fund had no liabilities for the reporting period. Observations. 1, the Climate Change Fund received a total of 158 million from the county government during the year to finance its operations. The fund received a further 11 million from development partners, that is FLOCA programs. The financial reports and statements were submitted to the County Assembly within the timelines stipulated by Section 164 of the Public Finance, the PFM Act 2022. Recommendations. The committee commends and recommends the ECM to continue observing the timely preparation and submission of the financial statements to the County Assembly for consideration. 2, the county government should ensure adequate and sustained allocation of resources to the fund to ensure the provision of funding for the community and stakeholder priority climate action to address the climate change-related challenges within the county. The county government should endeavor to have sustained engagement with development partners such as FLOCA programs as provided by Section 64 of the Public-Private Partnership Act 2021 to ensure sustained funding and functioning of the fund and its programs. Makueni County Bursary Fund quarterly reports and financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2025. Section 116 of the PFM Act 2012 provides that a county executive committee member for finance may establish other public funds with the approval of the county executive committee and the county assembly. Regulation 3 of the Makueni County Bursary Fund, Regulation 2018, establishes that Makueni County Bursary Fund, whose object and purpose is to provide for bursary scheme to provide financial assistance to need.
And I believe going forward, we shall see more efforts being done and more productive reports being produced. Thank you.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank members in supporting this motion. And it's a point that has been raised by Honorable Jonathan on issue of timeline. I will request the member to go through the PFM Act guidelines where timelines are stipulated because in the management by the ECM for finance, he or she is guided by the PFM Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I now put the question for vote. This is assembled of the report of the Committee on Finance on Socioeconomic Planning on the Makueni County Public Funds. That is, County Revenue Fund, 2, the Receiver of Revenue Fund, 3, Emergency Fund, 4, Empowerment Fund, 5, Climate Change Fund, 6, Bursary Fund, 7, Car Loan and Mortgage Fund, quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended 30th of June 2025, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th of September 2025. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes at it. Honorable members, I directed that the resolutions be conveyed to the respective executive committee members, to the governor and executive committee member for finance. Implementation further to that, the issue raised by the leader of the majority on lack of clarity on recommendations on specific. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have an omnibus report, but then lose the recommendations. So Chairperson, you need to look into that, and perhaps in your forwarding letter, then you may have to give a general timeline within which is required in the standing orders, which is 60 days for the implementation of this standing order. But forthwith, other reports must be amended to indicate such. Next order. We resume order number 8. Clerk.
Order number 8, procedural motion, waiving notice period.
Honorable Josephine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. I beg to move the following procedural motion that notwithstanding the provision of Standing Order 65B, this Assembly resolves to waive the notice period of the motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Service on the Makueni County Universal Health Care Coverage Implementation Guidelines 2025, appearing on the order paper under order number 9. I request the majority leader to second the motion.
Leader of the majority party.
Mr. Speaker, as the acting majority leader, then I second in that capacity.
Honorable members, I now propose a question that notwithstanding provision of standing order number 60, paragraph 5B, the Assembly resolved to waive the notice period. The motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Services on the Makueni County Universal Healthcare Coverage Implementation Guidelines of the year 2025, appearing in the order paper under order number 9. The floor is open for debate. Mover of the motion. Reply. What is it? Order, Honorable Mwoki. The mover
Mr.
is
Speaker,
on his feet.
Mr. Speaker, my question is, this is a procedural motion, and I'm doubting whether it was moved procedurally, because Honorable Josephine is a member of the House Business Committee, and the Honorable member for Elima is not a member of the House Business Committee, Mr. Speaker. We moved to other motions because he could not move the motion, right? And now it has been moved by a member of the House Business Committee. It is a procedural motion. But he's not the majority. He is not a member of the House Business Committee. That is the point. House Business Committee member. Is he a member? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member from Lale Mali, what is your point of order?
Actually, my information on that matter, Honorable Speaker, is the office of the leader of the majority, the leader of government businesses. I thought under that office, he has the capacity to second the motion. However, I will not leave it not saying this. There is a skilled program to support the government, because I don't understand why those who sit in that committee are not present on a because we have the order paper with us. We know what is coming. If you are really stand for the government, why are you not here to protect the government? Some people might be supporting the government indirectly, and we must say them right in this honorable house. And that's why we are saying as an oversight, we will start oversight right here. Because you cannot be the leader of government business. You are here on allowances. When there is no allowance, you are not in the house. How are you supporting the government? That has to be noted. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member from Coward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as much as we want to sugarcoat, the deputy leader of majority cannot be the majority leader. We must be very honest with each other, because it is provided for. For example, the leader of majority is the chair of selection committee. The deputy leader of majority cannot chair selection committee because it's a preserve of the leader of majority. And that is a fact, Honorable Speaker. So if the leader of majority is absent, if he cannot perform his functions, he can't. There are roles that are preserved for the deputy leader of majority as the assistant of government business. If the leader of majority is not here to execute his business, the deputy leader cannot do that as a member of the House Business Committee. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, because in the first ruling, you ruled that it is unprocedural for the deputy leader of majority to move a motion. It still remains unprocedural for him to second the same motion, Honorable Speaker, unless we are not honest with ourselves. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Gender and Sports.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Though no, the title does not, I will not use the title to make my contribution, Honorable Speaker.
I'm using the title for sports because we have just resumed and you did very well.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the accolades, and I want to also congratulate all the members that participated and stayed on and cheered the teams that played in the finals. However, the members who left very early, we shall revisit. Honorable Speaker, I want to also support what the Honorable Member for Muka has said. Mr. Speaker, that the role designated for the leader of majority to sit in the ABC cannot be delegated. Honorable Speaker, I hope what Honorable Member for Emali has said has not gone live, because that is something that should not be overheard by the public. If we are not on YouTube, then I think we need to, I don't know. No, the fact that
those on YouTube are following you, as you say so.
Yeah, because he's saying that it is a gentleman's agreement, in other words, that the leader of majority, the deputy can perform the roles, yet it is not supported anywhere in the standing orders, Honorable Speaker. The leader of majority is my leader because I come from the majority party in this house, but I must say that the ABC is failing us, because out of 9 members, we only have 1 member in the house, Honorable Speaker. Where are the rest? How can we miss 8 members in a session in a serious plenary session like this, Honorable Speaker? Where are these people? Honorable Speaker, you need to crack the whip and have that is a committee that you chair and your members have failed you. So let us agree silently that we are delegating today, but it is nowhere in the standing orders. Because the majority sits there as the majority, and that role cannot be played by his deputy because he does not sit there. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Elizabeth Muli, I will come back to you. Take some water.
Honorable Speaker, Standing Order 207. 1. That is where the County Assembly Business Committee is established, and the composition is well spelled. 1 is the Speaker who shall be the chairperson. 2, the leader of the majority party. C, the leader of the minority party. D, the majority party whip. The minority party whip. And F, not less than 3 and not more than 4 members who shall be nominated by the County Assembly parties and approved by the County Assembly at the commencement of every session. Honorable Speaker, if these standing orders wanted us to have the deputy leader of majority sitting in that committee, it would have been spelled. There would not be a vacuum. And if the composition and the majority party and the leadership of the minority felt that they wanted to have their deputies sit in those committees, they would have given them as names in the membership of not less than 3 and not more than 4. So if the members who are serving as deputy leader of majority and deputy minority leaders were not given under that provision under F, then they cannot be purported to perform the functions of that committee, Honorable Speaker. It is against the standing orders, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable former leader of minority party.
Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, it's a very sad day to have such a situation because, Mr. Speaker, the people of Makueni are waiting for this motion to go through for implementation of health care that is targeting the vulnerable. Majority of them who are not able to go to the hospital are not able to pay the bills. And the executive is moving to bring such people undercover. And yet, Mr. Speaker, such a scenario comes in the House. I'll leave that for you to make a ruling on that, Mr. Speaker. But it's very sad, it cannot be taken lightly. We have sat here, the department, the Committee of Health has been ready for this. Mr. Speaker, who is failing you in this? Thank you.
Honorable Jonathan Mook, what was your point of
Honorable Speaker, as I said earlier, the writing is on black and white. Mr. Speaker.
You said you're on a point of order. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, is the House you are chairing in order to try to do illegal business?
We are on that issue. Now you have gone to the end of it.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to give proposals.
You should persuade.
To move forward. How we move forward with this, Mr. Speaker?
Now, let me allow you to make your remarks because the point of order is hanging somewhere.
Yeah.
Your point of order is futuristic. Can you be
Mr.
present?
Speaker,
what is your point? What is
my
what
point
is your information?
As Honorable Ndabalo has said, Mr. Speaker, we used public funds to go for public participation of this major document. The county government of Makueni, led by His Excellency the governor, did also public participation, consuming money, so that we can have this document. And Mr. Speaker, the person who is failing us is the leader of government business. Where is he, Mr. Speaker? And the members of that committee, Mr. Speaker, I can see you. You cannot participate on this. Mr. Speaker, we are anticipating to go on recess from tomorrow. But Mr. Speaker, I beg your wisdom, Mr. Speaker. We cannot break. Mr. Speaker, cause it that we cannot break for recess when this business is pending because the people of Makueni are waiting for these services. So, Mr. Speaker, if you decide to proceed, Mr. Speaker, I'll mobilize the opposition side to walk out. So that Honorable Kisungi is in this house, so that we can move motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order?
Mr. Speaker, is a honorable member in order to attack our leader of majority, given that the leader of majority is officially on an official duty at Candida. And he is one of the members of the Kadinga. And they are there. You can see.
What is Kadinga?
The physically challenged organization for the members. You can see Honorable Sarah Muro is not here. Honorable Maneno is not here. Honorable Daniel Musau is not here. And these are out on official duty. For this member to insinuate that our leader of majority is out on personal business or unofficially is totally out of order. And I would wish you, Mr. Speaker, to rule this member to be unruly. Two, is he in order to threaten this house by telling us that he's going to mobilize the opposition side to walk away? Is that courteous? Is that ethical? Is that the kind of oath he saw when he came to this?
Now, Honorable Mwaki. Honorable Mwaki, resume your seat. Honorable members have went into this matter. I really wanted you to ventilate on it so that you don't leave every decision to me. Honorable members, standing order number 20, it provides for the leader of the majority party and the majority party whip and the majority leadership. And 20, suborder 5 says that whenever the leader of the majority party is absent or unable to perform his or her functions, the deputy leader of the majority party shall perform the functions of the office of the leader of the majority party. And in the absence of both the leader of the majority party and the deputy leader of the majority party whip shall perform functions of the office of the leader of the majority. And the same applies to the leader of minority party leadership. Further to this, we are here on a basis of procedural motion. Traditionally and as a matter of practice, we should be moved by House Business Committee. So the questions to determine is as to whether Honorable Muthoka is in order to second a motion when the person of Honorable Muthoka is not a member of the House Business Committee. Understanding order number 1, number 20, paragraph 4, as I have read, Honorable Jonathan Bishop Muthoka is in order, in line with the standing order number 20, paragraph 5 and paragraph 6, to deputize the leader of the majority party in his absence. Honorable members, these standing orders provides that where you have a conflict and for a speaker to make a ruling, then must delve into the standing orders, guided by all standing orders, but on the basis of standing order number 1, which provides that in all cases where matters are not expressly provided for by these standing orders of the County Assembly, any procedural question shall be decided by the Speaker of the Assembly. Honorable members, it is expressly provided for that the deputy leader of majority can represent and take over the duties of the leader of the majority. However, for purposes of the Assembly Business Committee, don't celebrate too early. For purposes of the Assembly Business Committee, it is further expressly provided for that the County Assembly Business Committee shall select committee which is designated by the County Assembly Business to comprise of the following: the Speaker, the leader of the majority, leader of the minority, majority whip, and other members. And therefore, it is not up to the Speaker to invoke provisions of standing order number 1 to determine on a procedure on this particular question, or either to decide, because standing order number 207 as on this occasion expressly provided for the leader of the majority party and not the deputy. In the case of Makueni County Assembly, you find that standing order number 207 is that members, in the absence, 2074, in the absence of the speaker, the deputy speaker shall attend and chair the meetings of the county assembly business committee. So in our case, if the deputy speaker was not a member of the assembly business committee, he would be invited to chair that meeting. It is expressly provided for in the standing orders. However, in circumstances that he was nominated as an ordinary member of Wiper Party, he happens to find himself in the House business and chair the meeting in case the speaker is not present. So in the circumstances, honorable member, I take note of the audacity and the constitutional provisions and the authority of the leader of the majority in the House at the moment under standing order number 20, paragraph 4 and 5, as the Honorable Jonathan Mudoka. It is not in question, it is not enacting. He can execute all the duties, save for this one of the House Business Committee. So no one should question, and no one should ever imagine that the majority leadership is absent at the moment because the deputy is allowed to do so. I'm afraid I'm constrained. On 207, there is a specific constraint, and therefore this may not be allowed. In the circumstances, the procedural motion should be then seconded by a member of the Assembly Business Committee, and in the absence of one, that motion is deferred. Thank you, honorable members. On that matter, and as you discuss, please take note that both sides of the House have only one leader. The two deputies. So acknowledge those who are present. Worry not about those who are absent.
That's why I want to thank the speaker and the only member on that committee. Actually, at some point, I thought you will second the motion, but unfortunately, you could not second the motion. Honorable Speaker, after the 2010 Constitution, majority are referring to the 2010 the new Constitution. The naming the Assembly changed, Honorable Jonathan and members. There is no longer opposition and government. It is majority and minority. So if you talk about opposition, it is about you, not this wing of the Assembly. It is worthy to note that we are not opposition, we are the minority. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I hear you, member from Lale Mali. But the leader, the minority side, their work is not to continue to be minority. It's to check the majority side that forms government. Now, that check in parliamentary language, opposition does not mean to oppose. It means objective criticism. Like what you just did, you were so careful on what is happening on the majority leadership, and you had no time to recognize that the minority leader is absent. That is allowed by standing orders. That you focus on the majority, you have no business on the minority. So the opposition does not mean to oppose, honorable members. The so-called opposition, it is to scrutinize and check the government policies and question them with a view of strengthening the government side to do better. And therefore, it is also not up to the government side every other time to feel like they are being infringed when they are questioned. So if you feel the questions are too many, you look for a minority party and just ask questions or answer questions.
Actually, and why the mention of the leader of majority is because he's the leader of government business. This is a government motion, a motion to better the health of our people. And when it's a matter of the government, the opposition might decide to support it and not to support that motion. But when you lack the membership from the leading party, from the leader of the government business, and there is no evidence of where he could be, there is no delegation, there is no lobbying, then that tells you, and that's the confirmation about sabotage. Because if you are not there, then you delegate, you lobby, you ensure that there is quorum in the House, because it's an agenda that is already in the order paper that has to be deliberated. And depending on the time, Honorable Speaker, because we are about to go for recess, it was wise for this Honorable House to have that bill approved, so that at least the governor can take advantage of implementing that very noble health agenda. Thank you. That's why the name of the majority has been mentioned all over. Thank you.
I think that matter has been rested. Next order. Implementation of something to lay. Or the first paper. We can't deny them. It's historical. So, implementation, proceed to lay the maiden paper. I've never seen any other. Oh, it's Honorable Kimongo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kimongo, you are a member of that committee.
I have all along wanted to play a hide and seek as it concerns membership of this committee. Nevertheless, Honorable Speaker, let me proceed. Honorable Kaleli is troublesome for nothing. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The report of the Committee on Implementation of the Status of Implementation of the Report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the financial year 2023-2024, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024.
Next order. You want to give a notice? Proceed?
I can proceed.
Give a notice?
Can proceed?
The maiden notice.
Of course. And to ensure that the maiden motion comes tomorrow before we close the year. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. As the Assembly adopts a report of the Committee on Implementation of the Status of Implementation of the Report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the financial year 2023-2024, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on the 2nd December 2025.
Next order. The motion on devolution, have you resolved it? Honorable Moki, have you? Clerk, read the order.
Order number 10, motion. Report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration Special Programs on the annual report of the Makueni County Public Service Board on the execution of the functions of the board.
Mover.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration and Special Programs on the annual report of the Makueni County Public Service Board on the execution of the functions of the board, January to December 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 29th September 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Makueni County Public Service Board is constituted in accordance with Section 57. Mr. Speaker, do I need to read those? I can proceed to where the matter is. Honorable Speaker, This report covers all activities, programs, and decisions implemented by the board during the calendar year 2024. It reflects on the board's performance against its strategic plan and key performance indicators. The scope includes recruitment and selection, promotions, training and development, employee welfare, compliance with constitutional values, performance, appraisals, and disciplinary management. During the year under review, the board prioritized automation of recruitment processes, a review of human resource policies and guidelines, stakeholder engagement, mainstreaming of performance culture, and strengthening of strategic human resource planning. The report also benchmarks progress against the key performance indicators and targets outlined in the strategic plan and annual performance contract. During the reporting period, Mr. Speaker, Makueni County Public Service Board implemented a series of targeted institutional reforms aimed at enhancing corporate governance, improving operational efficiency, and aligning the county public service with national and international best practices. These reforms were anchored in the board's strategic objective of fostering a professional, accountable, and performance-driven public service. Key reforms milestones achieved include: 1, digitization of human resource, policy formulation and review, performance management, capacity building, and quality management. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the recruitment, to promote transparency and inclusivity in the hiring process, the board widens our recruitment channels by advertising job openings through various platforms. These included local newspapers of wide circulation, the board and the county government website, notice boards, and social media platforms aimed at reaching diverse demography, so as to attract a broad range of qualified candidates. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether I proceed or I stop because we don't have quorum, I can see. So there's no need of moving ahead, talking to an empty house, Mr. Speaker. It is not me, Mr. Speaker. It is not me. So I cannot proceed. And the government said, Mr. Speaker, there are no people. It's only here where we are a bit like 9, 8. The other side is empty, Mr. Speaker. You can see.
Sanjay Adams, you ring the bell for quorum.